You know the plan. We buy an English club, acquire the second tier of young American talent, and generate a fan base in the States. But then, the phone rings, and the whole plan gets turned upside down. Who made the call? Find out next on Norwich City, the American Soccer Experience, here at Total FIFA Career Mode. By now, the takeover was well known. Virgill de Krujger had been installed as club manager and director of football operations, and the club's plan to acquire young American talent had been broadcast throughout the football world with varying levels of acceptance. The plan was simple: jettison as much of the existing older talent as possible, especially those who had already failed in previous attempts to avoid Premier League relegation, and then infuse the roster with young American talent. Early targets include the likes of Yunus Musa, Brendan Aronson, Matthew Hoppe, Daryl DK, and many more, going after a who's who of up-and-coming American players. So you can imagine Virgill de Krujger's surprise when the phone rang and the person on the other end requested a meeting before the club had made any personnel moves. On the line was none other than Christian Pulisic, captain of the U.S. men's national team and far and away the most highly rated American player today. Pulisic heard de Krujger's plan and wanted to discuss his role in it, not knowing that to that point, he didn't have one.
Hey Skip, thanks for meeting with me.
Anything for you. I was surprised to get your call. What's up?
Well, if you're building an American team in the Premier League, I want in. How can you have an American team without Captain America?
Wait, you want to leave Chelsea?
I want to play. I love Chelsea. We won the Champions League. But I'm not going to play enough. They keep bringing in new signings. I need to be on the pitch every game, and I think you can offer me that.
We certainly can. You'd play as much as your body can handle, which would be a concern for me. But when healthy, you'd be the first name on the sheet every match. But Chelsea is going to want a huge sum for you. We may be able to pull it off, but it won't leave us much left to work with to reinforce the roster, and this squad needs a lot of work.
Listen Skip, I'll be healthy. You've already got Sarge from our squad. You add me and Steph and I'll guarantee we stay in the league another season. Then you'll have more money to go get the rest of the fellas.
I never imagined we had a chance at acquiring you. I can't pass up the chance to get a player of your talent level on our squad, let alone think about the number of jerseys it will sell and the amount of Americans who will tune in to see us now. If I can get Chelsea to part with you for around £60 million, I think I'll have enough left to build a good roster around you. Let's see what they're willing to do.
Well, Chelsea was willing to do exactly that, parting ways with Christian Pulisic for just a little over £61 million. Now, after selling off most of our inherited players, we had a lot of money to work with. But this took most of it, leaving us very little to work to reinforce the team. You heard what Christian said. He said we had to get Zach Steffen, and he's available because he needs to play too, stuck behind Ederson at Manchester City, and we need a Premier League level goalkeeper. So it's not an option. We gotta get Zach Steffen too, and we're able to do that for a little over £12 million. So between the two, there's £75 million, and we are just about tapped out. We've got enough money left in the bank to get 3 more American players and 2 more European guys to round out the roster. We're able to land Yunus Musa for a little over £4 million. He's going to play in one of those attacking midfield roles for us. We're able to get Justin Che, a young center back who's not going to play a lot right away, but he's got a lot of potential. He's going to give us some good depth. And then up top, we land Ricardo Pepi for a little over $1 million, and he's going to challenge Josh Sargent in that striker position just as he does on the U.S. national team, or we sometimes might play with 2 strikers up top, and also Sargent can play out on the wing, so he gives us a lot of depth there. And that gives us 6 American players, 4 of whom will likely be in the starting lineup and see regular playing time, so that's sure to get the American soccer fans fired up about Norwich City. Now, we did have to go get a few more players for depth. We signed Tommy Doyle from Manchester City for a little over $1 million. He's a central midfielder, a holding midfielder who's going to be a lot of depth for us, but a lot of great potential. And then Jaden Usterwold out of the Netherlands. He's from FC20. And he's super fast, raw kid. He's going to play on the outside as a wing back, and he's also going to see some time at center back. And we didn't do a lot of this, but we did get some player swap offers, and one that we took was from Ajax. We swapped and got Kenneth Taylor, a 19-year-old central midfielder with an 82 overall potential, and he's going to be a versatile player for us. Now, one of the reasons we chose Norwich is because they actually had a decent amount of solid young players already on their roster who just weren't seeing playing time, but they gave us a good core to build around. Leading that group is Max Aarons, a 21-year-old right back, current 75, potential 83. He's a target by most of the Premier League. He'd be easy to sell, but he's the kind of guy we're going to build around. We've got 2 returners who haven't seen a lot of time yet, but they're going to get thrust right into the starting lineup. The first is Christos Zolis, a 19-year-old from Greece, who's going to play out on the right wing. He's a current 74 with 87 potential, highest on the team. We got to get him in the lineup. The second is Andrew Omabamale, who's at 67 right now, and he's going to be a liability, but he's going to play center back for us, and he's got 81 potential. We're a little thin there, but he's got to get on the pitch as well. After that, we've got 3 guys who are on loan with us who are going to see some significant time. The first is Billy Gilmore, who's on loan from Chelsea, and he's going to play in our central midfield. He's only 20, 72 current, 86 potential, and he's a guy we may try to keep down the road. On the back line, we've got Ozan Kabak on loan from Schalke. The Turkish center back is a current 76 with 85 potential. He's another guy we would love to keep long term, but he's expensive. And lastly, at the left back position, we've got Brandon Williams, a 20-year-old, 75 current with 80 potential, who's on loan from Manchester United. And he's going to split time with Sam McCallum, another 20-year-old, current 70 with 80 potential, who we had out on loan with Queen's Park Rangers, but we pulled him back because we want to get him plenty of playing time with the first team. Now we got one more player to introduce. You haven't met him yet, you haven't had the chance, because he's been kicking ass in the Norwich City Academy. Growing up in East England, right in the backyard of the Canaries, and now joining the first team trying to douse the fire from inside the house. Let me introduce you to Logan Peters, our homegrown talent for the career. Thanks to FIFA's awful glitch, he's listed as a striker. He actually can play up at striker, but he's a considerably better player back on the defensive half of the pitch, and he's going to see time at both center back, and he's going to be our starter at defensive midfielder. So we've got a nice looking starting 11. We're going to mostly run a 4-3-3. Might use a few other formations, 2 strikers sometimes, 5 in the back occasionally, but generally we're going to run a 4-3-3. You see Pulisic leading it off as the captain on the left wing, Sargent and a little bit of Pepe at the striker position, Zolis on the right wing, Musa attacking mid, Gilmore as the center mid, and Logan Peters as the defensive midfielder. We're going to use Williams. We're going to use McCallum. We're going to use a lot of guys at that left back. That's going to be a rotating spot. We've got Kabak as one center back. We've got Obamale as the other center back. And then Max Aarons rounding it out on the right side with Zach Steffen in goal. It's a nice starting lineup. It's not a Premier League winning starting lineup, but it should be one that allows us to fight off relegation. And then we've got some nice depth in case there are injuries, for when the schedule gets crowded, for when we've got these other cup games we need to play. And the English schedule is just so packed that you gotta have depth, and I feel like we've got a decent amount of it. So I'm really comfortable where this all ended up, despite the change in strategy. So let's take a look at how this season's going to start out, because, we're not going to compete right off the bat for the title, but we're hoping to be somewhere mid-table. And so, we take a look at the opening few games and, Liverpool, Manchester City, and then Leicester City. That is not a good start. Boy, this could be a rough go of it early on for Norwich City. There are some winnable games in the Premier League, but boy, those don't sound like they're going to be it. Well, hey, we were going to have to play them eventually, so we might as well get them out of the way early. No one ever said avoiding relegation was going to be easy. Listen, we are ready to kick this season off. Make sure you like this video, subscribe down below so you can see episode 1 when it debuts. We are ready to roll on Norwich City, the American soccer experience, here at Total FIFA Career Mode.